at this. Look at the battling, and it is a safety car. Here comes Mika into Stoke Corner. Whoa! Almost! And away we go here in the Netherlands for F1 leaning down towards the next couple of... Oh, it is! Oh my god! Whoa! Bit of a season as Nano wins! In Monza for FRLT Tier 1 of 4. And right beneath! Oh, he goes! Nano who wins in Jeddah! Hello, and welcome to FRLT Season 5, and it is time for no assists this evening. Yes, no assists. Round number 10 of the season. As you see here on the calendar, we've gone from Monza, Belgium, Australia, Singapore, Las Vegas, Mexico, Mystery Race, Great Britain, Bahrain, and this week we come to Japan to start off September's racing. Looking at the lovely track map, as you can see, it is 5.807 kilometers, 3.608 miles, 18 turns, 1 DRS zone down the pit straight. The standings as well proved to be interesting after last race at Reverse Austria. It proved to be very interesting because SET continues to lead the championship, but they got closed down by EVR down to just 3 points between the top two in the championship. OMB follow rather closely behind on 145 points. Yes, just 14 points behind the championship leaders. Then it is Rosso, who had a poor weekend once again. Who had another poor weekend once again. Had another poor weekend and found themselves still in fourth in the championship, but now looks like with just 4 races to go, they might be completely out of championship contention. SKG as well have fully formed themselves out of championship contention. Look like they are just trying to run home in 5th, possibly climb to 4th if they can in the constructors. VRE climbed from 9th to 6th last week, going up with a lovely, brilliant 21 points gained last week, their biggest gain so far, going up and up every single race. XPG, no points now in only 1 point, I believe, in the last 3 races for XPG. And they sit 7th in the constructors, just ahead of VMV on 30 points, with also a very tough race. TDR 9th still. Out of the bottom 3, though, I think TDR still the only team to have a podium this season as well, out of those bottom 3. AB yet to race, but they are racing here tonight. So we are getting onto that very shortly. We're about to load into qualifying. Of course, it is an 18-minute qualifying as we come to the track now. As you see, 18-minute qualifying. We've got 18 minutes of qualifying, followed by then a lovely 50% race, which will prove to be very interesting here tonight. 50% race, 27 laps of Suzuka, one of the most legendary but also hardest tracks on the calendar. Also, the sound isn't on, so I do apologise for that. The sound should be on now. But as you can see, onto the track, 17 drivers. We are missing a few. 3 drivers are missing. I'm not sure who is missing from this list. Seems to be an SKG. I think both XPGs as well. Yeah, it's both XPGs and... No, it's one XPG that's missing. It's definitely one SKG as well. I think. think also one V&V as well. So we're missing a couple of drivers, but we're shortly going to get underway. But I've got a couple of brilliant stats to actually show you up on here as one car is making their way out. It's one of the TDR drivers. It is going to be Jazz Gaming on his way out. First driver this evening to make his way out onto the track. Nobody else heading out. So he's very much a lone driver as he comes out onto the track for his out lap here tonight. Very much a lone driver. So quite strange. We don't see that very often. Drivers just coming out on his own. But he's going to be far ahead of everyone else as he's already making his way through the most legendary section on this track for me. And that is the Suzuka S's, of course. Throughout this first sector. Then up the hill. But we'll go through the whole track layout. I think we've also got a Rosso on their way out. That is Nicholas Boiter on his way out. But I've got a couple of things to actually show up on here. So far, track-to-track data, this might be actually quite a tricky track to tell who's going to be best. Because this season, low speed has been EVR. So that turn one and final chicane will probably be a strong point from the last three races. EVR have been on top, so that might be a strong point for EVR at this track, is of course the final chicane and that hairpin. Medium speed has been VRE in the last three races, so they might be maybe coming in a bit better, maybe throughout the middle sector and final sector, but high speed has also been EVR, so very strong for them around this track, and straight line speed OMB though, so down the straights. Got to be worried about them. But we're going to be going on board with Jazz Gaming as he makes his way round to begin his lap here in Japan as he heads down the pit straight. Into turn one he goes, throwing the car through. He's got to throw everything he's got through the corner. And very nice through turn one and turn two. Not too bad. Through the S section now he goes. Still making his way up and through here. My apologies, I'm having to sort audio settings now. Making his way up into the double right-hander, over the curb, clambering over the curb into the second of the right-handers. Quite similar to turn one and turn two, I must say. They're decently similar. Into the hairpin, very smooth from Jazz Gaming there. He's looking very, very smooth. Now heading down the hill, back up the hill slightly now into Spoon. You've got to get this corner right. Jazz Gaming does get the corner. He does it incredibly well. Brilliant line. Ooh, big snap on the rear though. Fully losing the rear of the car there. So that was not what he was looking for at all. Heading down to end that middle sector. That's a 1 minute 10.538 is the time to beat. Not many drivers coming on laps into the final chicane. Jazz going very slowly through this final chicane. I have to say he went quite slowly through that final chicane. Definitely not up to pace there. And across the line, he does a 1 minute 27.904 when he crosses the line. And that is that for his lap. We've got Nicholas Boiter, who's gone slightly quicker in the middle sector. Only about 600ths quicker. But let's see, in the final chicane, I think that's really where Jazz Gaming lost a lot of time, was in that final chicane. Let's see as Nicholas Boiter makes his way round and across the line. And it is going to be a 1 minute 27.576. So a very strong lap time there from himself. We're trying to find the next driver that is currently on a lap. And there goes Quinn. 1 minute 26.774 to start off the session. Another 0.8 quicker. William Boiter goes slowest of all, 1 minute 28.011. So not a great lap time to start off his evening at all. Speedy's just crossing the line to start his lap. Same as Myth as well. He's just starting his lap. So the next driver is going to be Speedy's teammate, Wheeze. Makes his way round for the first time, I think, since Season 1 or Season 2 that we've seen Wheeze. And across the line, he goes P2, also into 1 minute 27.5. Not too bad for himself. Theo goes P4. He's in a 27.6. So he's a little bit further behind. Then we've got Liam, who's making his way around. I think he's just done the exact same sector time as we saw Nicholas Boiter do. So very much on pace. A little bit deep. Whoa, bit of sliding off for the rear there. And coming up to the line, where is he going to go? He's going to only go P6, second to last. Not great there. And look at that. Mario goes the exact same lap time as her Quinn. But because her Quinn crossed the line first, her Quinn stays first. And Mario in second. I've never seen that. I've never seen two drivers get the exact same lap time for provisional pole. That is crazy. KJ came in third, 27.2, so a little bit on his own there. But the top two, I have no words for what the top two just did. Absolutely incredible to see everybody so incredibly close there. Speedy coming round. He's gone very quickly. And Speedy goes fastest of all, 26.647. And an incredible lap time there from himself. Myth only goes P9 in all of it. So he does a 27.8. So at the moment, the grid split by about 1.4 seconds at the moment. Almost 1.4 seconds between 1st and 13th at the moment. Looking to who's next. Salvo Almeida has invalidated, so it will be Julian next, who's making his way around. He's got to be pretty quick around this track. AB making their debut this season in no assists. Through Spoon. Julian looks pretty good. Oh, and again, we're seeing the rear kicking out as they come round the bend. Through Spoon. It's a 1 minute 10.0 from Julian. He's really fast. That's almost half a second quicker than we saw 11th went, which was LMB, and Nicholas Boiter about 4/10 quicker there. So let's see. What does Julian do when he comes up to the line? Where does he go? He goes into a 27.196 P4 ABE. Looking like they're having a good couple of runs there. The Bard Tsunami only did a 1 minute 28.3, so that opens the gap up. Oh, JD Bergsma takes out some cones quite strangely and rolls back into the pits, but Nicholas Boiter's out for another lap. And we can see Myth, Mirko is just cutting the track, which isn't particularly allowed. We've got Speedy on his way in as well, so he's making his way around slowly. The Bard Tsunami also on his way in. Quite a lot of drivers on their way in. You can see slowly, it's Nicholas Boiter making his way around quite slowly, because I can actually see Thomas Biskup catching up to him. I believe Thomas has a qualifying ban for this evening. So EVR one man down when it comes down to getting into the top 10 and in their championship battle. Starting off his lap, Nicholas Boiter. Let's see what he can do. He's currently P7. If he improves by a 10th, he goes up to P6, but he's got a long way to go for P5. He's got to find over 3/10 of a second, about 3.5 to go P5 here. So let's see what Nicholas Boiter can do. Through his first sector, bit of sliding there on the front. He's going to have a bit of traffic as he makes his way round. I'd say it doesn't help him in this case as well that he's got... he had somebody rather close behind him. I think they've gone back into the pits. But now, first sector, he's up by 1/4 of a second here. This is exactly what he needed in his first sector. So clearly some big mistakes coming out of that first sector from himself. Nicholas Boiter through the hairpin now. Not looking too bad for the moment. He's looking very good on his lap. He needs to keep that 1/4 of a second. He needs to keep it that way. He needs to keep finding it. Let's see, what does he do in his middle sector? He's up by almost 6/10 of a second. So Nicholas Boiter pushing for pole here. He's in the battle for pole. This would put him in a 26.9, which would just about start to bring him into contention for pole position. And across the line, where does he go? He only does a 27.2. He loses a lot of time and only slots in P5, just missing out by 0.07 of a second on P4 there. So, not a perfect run for himself. Theo's just starting his lap. I believe we've got Salva Olmedo making his way around. Then we've got Wheeze as well, who's coming round. He's coming round rather slowly. Then it's JD Bergsma. Is it LMB next? No, it's not LMB. LMB's going slowly on his lap. Looks like he might be coming in. Is it William Boiter? I'm not sure who is actually on a fast lap at the moment. It's Jazz Gaming. He's the one on the fast lap. He's down by 32 thousandths in his middle sector. Can only P11. 2 tenths would find him up to P9 into that top 10. So he needs quite a bit of time in this final sector. That looks a lot better. Quinn goes 2 thousandths quicker than Speedy to take provisional pole. P9 for Jazz. A tenth and a half quicker into the 27.7. Very good to see there from himself. Speedy's just started his lap. There goes William Boiter, who's gone P4. Rosso on the pushback for chances. Mario goes fastest of all. A tenth and a half foul. 1 minute 26.623. The times are just getting quicker and quicker this evening. Unbelievably, they're getting quicker and quicker. I did not expect them to be getting this much faster. KJ goes P4 into a 27.0. He jumps ahead of the Rosso duo and an ABE driver. So at the moment, it's looking incredibly close. Salvolmido once again invalidating OMB. One's on pole, one's last. It's not going well for himself this evening. JD Bergsma has retired. Not retired, he's invalidated, sorry. Why did I say retired? Such a strange... I don't know why I said it at all. Wheeze in P8. He's gone slowly on his lap. And he's going to stay in P8. I mean, it was shocking that the start of the session, 27.5 was quickest, and now that's P8 in the grid. P8 and P9 roughly. So, not going too great if you do come in that position. I have to say, it's not great when it comes down to that. Bartanami comes across the line, P12. Not too bad for himself. Julian, invalidated, but was up by 17 thousandths anyway, so he's actually pretty close to his lap time. Theo's going slowly on his lap. Mirko is as well. Bartanami, I think, has just improved on his lap. Yes, he has. Myth is going slowly. It's LMB on an out lap at the moment, so we'll watch him as he makes his way round rather slowly. So, LMB, he needs a big performance here. Currently last of the drivers who have lap times, 14th in the grid. He's got to fight. 2 tenths will bring him up to P10, by the way. So he just needs 2 tenths in all this to go up to P10. But his teammate, 26.6 versus a 27.9. 1.3 seconds gap at the moment between teammates. Not what VRE would be wanting this evening. Crossing the line. Let's watch on board with LMB because we've seen the first runs, we've seen the second runs, and this is going to be his final run of the evening. Into turn 1 and turn 2. Trying to get the car turned in there. A little bit of struggle, clear understeer from the car. Through the S section now. Through the Suzuka S's. Through here. Going quite carefully. Definitely trying to be a bit more careful and just finish the run. That's definitely something we're seeing from quite a few drivers, I think, on the grid. Some drivers like Theo, who's been a bit quicker, Wheeze as well. Nicholas Boiter as well, going quite a bit slower than sort of we'd expect, but up by a quarter of a second in the first sector. That's how much time Liam has found. So clearly a mistake in his first or second run there. Into the hairpin he goes, throwing the car in. He gets the apex well. Not the best of exits, though. Definitely choosing that entry and mid-corner speed over that exit speed. So a little bit of compromised exit there into Spoon. You've got to get these 2 corners right. He hasn't exactly. He's gone off, and that is an invalidation for LMB. And I think that is going to be the end of his evening when it comes down to qualifying. How much was he up by? He's not up by anything now. He's pulled back, but I mean, he was probably going to be up by about 4 tenths of a second. He was nailing some corners 4 or 5 tenths, so he's definitely lost a lot there and could have been even P8. So Not good from himself there. Nicholas has just started a lap. He's going to be the next driver. So that's LMB done with his day and his qualifying, making his way around. Nicholas Boyser, let's see what he can do. He's got a car on the inside. You've got to be so careful with traffic, but traffic's also going to be so careful because they'll get a qualifying ban, just like EVR did last week at Reverse Austria. That was a pretty tough one, especially this late in the championship, and just being 3 points behind the championship leaders. Not exactly what you need. But SET aren't in the best of positions anyway. P3 and P8 would only take in 16 points this evening, so they would be taking quite a low amount of points. Nicholas Boyton not having a clean lap so far. Quite a lot of struggles coming from Nicholas Boyton. He's not having the best of runs so far as he now pulls off, and he is not happy with his lap. To be honest, I wouldn't be particularly happy with my lap either. Next is Wheeze. He's down by 13 thousandths in that first sector, so he's not finding time in the first sector. It's important though. Thing is, even if he was a small amount up, the problem is he's far, far behind 7th. He's almost 3.5 tenths behind 7th. LMB now retires from the session, becomes the first driver to who has completed laps or not had a qualifying ban to retire from this session. Let's see what Wheeze can do. That's how you do spoon. And a lot of drivers will be watching that, hoping they'll be able to do it. A little bit of slipstream. But of course, slipstreaming is not allowed, so you've got to be very careful. Up by 96 thousandths in his middle sector. Wheeze isn't going to get any position, but the main thing is securing this P8 finish for himself, heading into the final chicane. And he invalidates on the final corner. And that is his session over and done, and disappointment is going to be it's going to be huge amounts of disappointment. He's going to absolutely be hating himself there for that massive mistake he's just made in the final corner. Bourbon Boy also retires with a qualifying ban. Wheeze, of course, done 1 minute 9.411 in that middle sector. That's an incredible middle sector, by the way. That was a second quicker than we've seen some drivers in the mid-pack. So this could be provisional pole. OMB could be going for another 1-2 in qualifying. Let's see, and across the line, Salva Olmedo, 1 minute 26.425. I think we got Mirko, who's invalidated on his lap. Speedy's coming round next. Speedy goes fastest, 26.2. Haquin can't improve. He stays P4. Oh my god, there is everything going on. Theo coming round. He's improving slightly. He now goes P9. Exactly what he needed. And that is Willian, who's going to improve by 45 thousandths and stay P6 at the end of qualifying. Then we've got Nicholas Boyd, who's improved by just over a tenth of a second. This could send him up some places. He goes P5 with a 27.0 on the dot. Myth! P5 tool. Oh my god, everybody's taking P5 now. 12 thousandths is the battle over P5 at the moment. Julian across the line doesn't improve. We'll wait for the next driver. I think the next driver is going to be JD Bergsma, who's not going quickly at all. And that is, I'm pretty sure that is qualifying over as JD Bergsma's heading up to the line. He's going to be instead in last. But on pole is Speedy. SCT, championship leaders, back on pole once again this week. I think they've gone 2 weeks without pole now. They're back on top. But it's very close. OMB, they're second biggest championship rivals. Third in the championship, second and third. Second in the championship, 5th and 18th coming into this evening. So, lots to be made up by EVR. OMB could be sailing to an easy overtake for second or even first in the championship. But let's go through the order. Speedy is on pole, followed by Mario, Salva Olmedo, Haquin, KJ, Myth, Nicholas Boiter, William Boiter, Julian, Theo, Wheeze, The Jazz Gaming, Mirko, The Bard Tsunami, LMB, JD Bergsma, Bourbon Boy, and Thomas to end out our whole grid for the race. I cannot believe the battle for pole. The grid's quite spaced out though. That is something I think everybody is probably agreeing on, is that the grid is very spaced out. I mean, incredibly spaced out at the moment. The fact that there's over a second. And it is raining for the race. It is raining. This is surprising. Drivers will be given 3 minutes to ready up. But let's have a look at a couple of other things. The pace, the pace of the grid at the moment, measured in seconds. EVR currently, based off the last 3 races, quickest on pace. OMB just a 10th behind. SCT also a 10th behind in the last 3 races. So both of them, the top 3, incredibly close. VRE have caught up. They were half a second behind. Now they're just 2/10ths behind based off of last race. They were the highest performing team, by the way, last week. They scored the most points, so they've closed up quite a lot. We also have dropped back. Originally, 3 races ago, they were actually up just 2/10ths behind. Now they've lost 3/10ths since. SKG also 6/10ths behind. TDR, XPG both 9/10ths behind, and VMV currently slowest on the grid, 1 second behind. We also know that the points in the last 3 races, this is how many points have been scored by each and every team in the last 3 races. XPG sit 9th and last, 1 point scored in the last 3 races. All 9 teams that have raced have scored points. SKG have scored just 5. Yes, I know, 5th in the championship, only 5 points scored. VMV have scored 7. TDR got that podium, of course, got that P2 finish, which brought them up by 16 points. Rosso, massive reduction in points in the last couple of races, only on 24 points in the last 3 races. VRE, they debuted 3 races ago, and they've scored all of their 39 points in that time. EVR on 53, SCT on 54, and OMB on 60. I just want to point out one thing to everyone. These points don't include pole or fastest lap. So officially, EVR have actually scored more points than SCT. They've actually scored the highest points, well, the second highest points in the last 3 races. I think they've scored 57 or 58. I think they've scored 57 points in the last 2 races, 56 points. They've scored 3 extra points, but sadly, that's not counted. It's just their results. Also, looking at we've looked at the pace, we've looked at this, we've looked at everything. So that is how it's going to go. Remember, EVR have proven to be good in high speed and low speed corners. Not proving to be there so much in pace this week. They're definitely a bit further behind that high-speed cornering. I think this week it's a lot more high-speed cornering, but it is, of course, a wet race. So we'll have to see who has committed for the wet setup and who went for the dry setup, who went for that better qualifying over the better race performance. Who's chosen what in this? This is the big question. This is the big question for teams. Who's going to get there? Who is going to perform best this evening? SCT, the championship leaders on pole, but OMB currently would come away with the most points out of any team. They come away with 29. SCT with just 18. I can hear we're about to get going. And as you can see, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here in Suzuka for round number 10 of FRLT. Season 5, no assists. And it's a great getaway from Speedy. He's gotten away into turn 1. Both OMBs also getting away well. But he's gone wide! Speedy going incredibly wide through turn 1 has now left him behind Mario. Down to P2 now. Mario leads away here in Suzuka. OMB pushing for the victory tonight. They were hoping to get one last week. They almost did. But this week, will it be the week for them? But it is a brilliant getaway from Mario off of lap 1. Clearly, Speedy not getting the best of getaways. Turn 1 already making a massive mistake and losing the lead of the race. So Mario leads away here on lap number 1. We can see LMB battling over P12. Whoa! And that is Willian who's coming right back onto the track. And now LMB up to P11 and a position gained straight away into this race. Now battling, look at this, tons of side-by-side action further back, lots of drivers going for moves. Wheeze really struggling though, also off for this first lap. He's already down to 14th, so an absolutely horrific start for himself. He's already down 2 places. Look at that, that's Mirko who's dropping down the order. Somebody's gone off the track, and that is JD Bergsma that's gone off the track. He's gone flying off of the track there. But you can see already quite a lot of changes. Julian up 6 places, some good starts for some. Like, for instance, LMB up 4 places and Bourbon Boy up 5. But Wheeze down 2. Not what he wants to be seeing. Jazz Gaming as well, down 5 at the same time. But it's not been a good start for some. But it has been a good start for our current race leader. He's over a second already into the lead after just lap 1. And that is a brilliant start from the man who started second. Sorry, who started third, I should say. The man who started third off of the start. And he's getting away already pretty well into this race. Speedy, though, we've got to talk about that poor start from Speedy. Turn 1. His thing is, his initial getaway from the grid was actually the best out of probably anyone there because he actually got very far in front as he arrived at turn 1, but just clearly went just way too deep into as he went into turn 1, and he just went way too deep, went off the track and lost place. He almost lost also a second place as well because Quinn was looking for a move further back, but you can see the grid already splitting off top 4, already running off into the distance. Away from P5. It's not been a good start for Thomas, though, down in 15th. Somebody's just gone off there. It's JD Bozeman as well. A couple of drivers going off quite a bit. That was Jazz Gaming that went off quite heavily. So these wet conditions clearly against a couple of drivers. LMB now up to P10 and into the points. VRE, the wet setup, working incredibly well for them tonight. P4 and P10 now. 12 points coming their way this evening. Not as good as last week, of course, but it's on their way back, and it's only lap 2 as well. And if you look at the positions gained, 5 places in just 1.5 laps. Same for Bourbon Boy as well. Surprising, I have to say. Everybody, of course, on the intermediate tyres. All the way around. Everybody's on the intermediates. Bourbon Boy now also getting past, trying to get past Theo, but Theo really battles it instead. But look at this Bourbon Boy on the inside. He's trying to get it. JD Bozeman gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He's had a moment. He's actually in the wall, and he's already lost his front wing end plates. So this evening for ABE, one side of the garage going really well, and it looks like JD Bergsman's going to be retiring. But look at this. Julian battling with KJ. Completely opposites in the championship. Oh! Very close to spinning. There goes Myth as well, who goes past. JD Bergsman now retires from the race. While Julian has a couple of struggles there, but down to P7 he goes. But for AB's first race this season, still taking some points and still bringing themselves maybe not into championship contention, but if Julian can get up to P5 in this race, that would definitely give a bit of a helping hand. But look at this. Around the outside is what Thomas is trying to do, but he's unable to make that move. He's going to have to stay in P15 for now. You can see P5 has dropped far away from the pack in front. LMB now makes his way past William Boito. Rosso really struggling again this week for performance. I've got to say, I cannot miss it out this week. Really struggling. Julian as well has a penalty, by the way. So, because of that, some drivers are going to be up into the high positions. So Julian will drop outside of the top 10 with his current penalty, which isn't going to help the ABE driver or the team. No points for this week's race as it would stand. So not the best indeed. It's proving to be a strange weekend, but it's proving to be another strange weekend for the man of William Boiter. As you can see, Bourbon Boy trying to go for it again on Theo. We've seen Theo and XPG and VMV have a couple of battles this season. Currently, they sit next to each other in the championship, of course. 7th and 8th in the championship. And into turn 1, there goes Bourbon Boy. He makes his way past into P11 and now charging for the points. But he's lost quite a bit of time because of that. And now Myth, by the way, up to P5. SKG on for their best performance in a long time. By the way, they've gone... In the last 3 races, they've only scored 5 points in 3 races. So this, and they wouldn't have scored this many points in a single race since round 4, by the way. Round 4, yes, it's been a very long time for SKG since they've scored a top 5 finish this season, which has been incredibly unlucky. I will say SKG have been on the unlucky side of it. They were in the championship battle earlier on this season. And they led the championship out, I think, out of round 4, I do believe. They led the championship. And, they were kind of in this championship battle. And then after round 4, just something happened to SKG. They just couldn't seem to click. It didn't seem to work. It kept on going wrong for them as Julian forces his way past KJ for P6. But now Myth has started to run off into the distance once again. So the grid getting quite split in these wet conditions. Haquin as well, he's dropped off of a second. See, Speedy's actually slowly catching, by the way, onto Mario. He's about keeping up with him. And look at this, a move. William Boyter trying to make his way past LMB for P9. LMB able to hold on to it. He just seems to have that superior grip off of the exit. So maybe we've got a Weather Master going on there for position, but he's made up quite a lot of places. Nicholas Boyton out, making his way past KJ for position. And there he goes, up into P7 in this race. And Rosso trying to push back a little bit, trying to pick up some points this week. Still would only be currently 6 points, but on top of the extra 2, that's going to be 8 points this evening. As it stands, with Julian's penalty, 8 points will be walking the way of Rosso, which is their biggest that they've had since round 6, by the way, would be their best finish. Sorry, since round 7 would be their best finish. They've gone 2 races of scoring very small points. So this week, they're really hoping to not be scoring any small points once again. Maybe pushing for a few more points. But Rosso have now become sort of a weekly contender in that mid-pack. They're no longer sort of leading any sort of part of the track. They're no longer podium contenders. If I was to actually make you like a sort of a graph of where all of the teams are this season, when it comes down to pace and where they started and where they are now, you'd find it incredibly interesting, because even if I was to base it off of points, which would be sort of also performance, you'd also find that just Rosso have dropped through the pack. They have gone 2 races this season, by the way, where they have been where they have been the average fastest on track, by the way. They've averaged as the fastest team. They've also averaged as the best race. Up to round 7, by the way, they had the best average performances out of any team. So they have been there when it comes down to average performance. They've, up to round 7, they were the best, and then they've just dropped away after the last few races. In the last 2 races, they've dropped away a bit. Here comes Liam down the inside. Oh, into the side of KJ. The battling for P8 is really on here. Getting very, very close. And even quite a bit of contact there. Bourbon Boy now getting past William Boyter for P10. Rosso's dream maybe of double points disappearing. But Liam, looks like he's just been put off a little bit by that contact through turn 1 and turn 2. Looks like he's been put off a bit from KJ, but let's see. He's going to be charging for another move again. But VRE interests me quite a bit because, like I said, they've been a very interesting team this season. To be fair, the fact that they're currently 5th highest for points in the last 3 races. The 4th highest for points in the last 3 races. They've gotten ahead of SKG, who are 5th, 4th place Rosso as well. So the fact that they've slotted themselves in as the 4th highest scoring team in the last 3 races shows how interesting it's been in the last 3 races and where they've sat, and the fact that they are quite, they're 14 points behind EVR in finishing places. They're 15 behind SET, and they're 21 behind OMB, but it shows. But look at that. KJ's gone off track and trying to go round the outside is Liam. Has he gotten it? Has LMB gotten it? Can he get it? Round the final corner. Look at this. The racing is going crazy. Are we going to see 3 wide as we head into turn 1? Look at Bourbon Boy. A double overtake from the XPG driver. Down the inside goes Liam once again. He's tried to make the move, but again, he's missed out on it. And he's dropped 2 places now. And that is a massive mistake to make in this race. Especially at this point. It's an incredibly big mistake to make. Bourbon Boy made that double overtake down the pit straight. And I've got to say, that was an incredible moment of incredible judgment from Bourbon Boy to just go, it's better to make the move now than in a bit. So I have to say, really good. And for XPG, it's going to be their highest points in quite a while. LMB gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So his race looks like it could anyway be over and outside of the points. So VMV's great luck might be coming to an end a little bit. Definitely looks like it could be coming to a bit of an end this week. But still, everybody in the battle for positions here. race leader. We haven't really looked at him after lap 1, but he hasn't really looked back after turn 2. Leading the race now by 2.2 seconds. He knows any mistake will hurt him and, of course, will allow Speedy to get back up into the battle. But his teammate, Salva Olmedo, is on the back of Speedy. Hasn't let go. He lost a little bit, but he's gained that he's gained about 4 tenths back. He's just at the fast lap of the race. But he's gained about 4 tenths, about 2-3 tenths back on Speedy since the biggest gap. So he's definitely keeping up with Speedy for the moment. Definitely that cornering being stronger from OMB. Born Boy is just at the fast lap of the race. Here goes LMB now. Now he makes his way past KJ. And it looks like EVR won't be having the day they've really wanted at all. It looks like they're having one of their worst races of the season. It looks like it might even be their worst because now KJ is outside of the top 10. And it looks like he might even stay outside of the top 10 if he doesn't keep up. So some worries there for EVR in the midst of a championship battle being 3 points behind the championship leaders. Are they going to drop the ball with 3 races to go after this? Are they going to drop the ball at this point? A lot of people have said that EVR. I've seen quite a few people. I've asked a few people about this, but many people think EVR aren't going to win the championship. I think that's a little unfair to say the least. They've still got that chance. There's still 3 more races after this. So even if they have a bad race now, but the thing is, this is the worst time to have a bad race, and it's not even like it's 6th and 7th or something like that. It's currently he'll just be taking home 1 point this evening as it stands with Liam. But that's growing more and more, so he might not even take a point. So EVR not taking any points by my prediction, and that's just not what you need. In a championship battle at the moment with 3 points behind, getting no points out of round 10 with just 3 more races to go. And look at Theo. Theo down the inside. He's trying to make that move. Unable to. But look at Wheeze. Wheeze as well. Getting into the battle a bit. It's been a very quiet race for Wheeze. And now he drops position to Thomas as well. So he's dropped 1 more place. But look at Thomas. He's coming into action a little bit now. I haven't really had anything to really say about the Alpine up to this point. But now he's finding himself back up into this race a little bit. And waking up maybe just slightly to what's going on around him. So definitely an interesting moment there. But you can see still 11th to 13th. And would be EVR's worst race of the season, by the way. No points. They've scored points every single race. So this would be their worst race of the season. But it also allows SET to pull far, far ahead as well. So 3 points ahead on top of that 16 plus the pole. That's 20 points as it would stand. The SET would lead over EVR with 3 races to go. OMB would also overtake EVR for second in the championship as well. So EVR might just be losing their chance at the championship, but it's still close with 3 races to go. I mean, think about it. You could still score, I think, was it 30? Let me remember. It's 36 points you can score per race. So there's still a chance. Any of the top 3 could still get it. For VRE, though, it's not the evening they wanted because SKG are currently 5th in this race. 11 points versus 10. As it stands, probably they'll get maybe the extra 2. But at the moment, it's looking quite interesting for everyone because for VRE, if they only score 11 points this evening, as Myth now gets a 3-second time penalty, if they only score 11 points, they're only going to get 1 point ahead. They're only going to get 1 point closer to 5th in the championship, which isn't what they need. And it is going to bring them up to 50 points in their campaign after 4 races, which is very good. That if you think about it, other teams have had 9 races and they've scored only 159 points, and VRE have had 4 and they've scored 50. So even though some of them have done a bit better, it's still interesting to see. But Quinn is sadly on his own in this race a little bit. He's too far behind to close up. Even if he closes up by 3-4 tenths, he doesn't close up enough to really do anything. But if he doesn't... But by the way, I've just got to say, Mario must have made a mistake at some point, or Speedy has become incredibly quick, because all of a sudden Speedy is within a second of Mario. But But the big question, will these tyres go to the end, or will we be seeing a pit stop? The rain has gotten a lot lighter as well. Since the start of the race, you can see a dry line really starting to appear on track. It's still too wet for the dry tyres. I think everybody can agree on with that it's too dry. It's too wet, sorry, for the dry tyres. So, are we going to be seeing something else? You look at this. Salvo Almeida has also just set the fastest lap of the race, so dipping into the 1 minute 39, so it's gotten a lot quicker from the 1 minute 42s we were seeing just about 3-4 laps ago. So, the fact that the lap times have dropped by about 2 seconds is proving that lap times are dropping by about a tenth or two every single lap, by the way. They're dropping by about around 2 tenths on average now per lap, so it's definitely getting drier. And you see the rain is definitely disappearing a lot more. I've got to say, something's gone on back here. Because Born Boy's struggling a little bit. Look at Mirko. He's round. And he's going into the pits. He's clearly spun. So some problems coming in for Mirko here. And into the pits he goes. Are we going to see a second retirement of the evening? I have to see, but Mario now leads by not too much. So maybe taking too much out of his tyres, but he's led all of the first 10 laps of the race, by the way. So OMB getting those laps led this season a little bit higher, closing up maybe to SCT. Of course, we know in no assist this season, it's mostly been dominated by sort of 2 teams when it comes down to laps led. SCT and EVR have very much dominated when it comes down to laps led this season. They've been far ahead of the pack. But in the last sort of 2-3 races, in the last I'd say maybe 4 races, I'd definitely say, including this race, so going back to about round 7, it's definitely had a bit of a change. We've definitely seen maybe a bit of EVR leading races still, but we've also seen OMB lead a bit. I think we've also seen, Rosso lead a little bit as well. So this season, I think we've seen pretty much every team lead a race at some point. I think there's still only 2 teams that haven't led. I think that's ABE, VRE, and that's a slow car. That's Mirko that's gone off the track. I think there's one other team that hasn't led a lap yet this season, and I believe, if I'm correct, that's XPG. I think only 3 teams haven't led a lap this season, but I have to double check and go over it. But I know, I do remember, I can't remember who the 3rd team is exactly, but I know that 3 teams haven't led this season. And like I said, both of them being, 2 of them being VRE, and the other being ABE, of course. But it does surprise me, though, with VRE not leading a lap yet this season, because they've been in this battle in the top 5 in 2 of their... this is their 4th race tonight, but out of their 2 out of their 3 races completed already, they've been in that top 4. They've been in that top 5 for a fight for the lead and stuff, but they haven't led. So, but what I've just noticed is the rain has almost entirely stopped. I can see little spits of rain every so often, but the rain has almost entirely stopped now. So that's going to be interesting. Somebody's going slowly. That's Mirko's in the wall again. He's on the hard tyres, by the way. And Mirko retires. He retires on track. What chaos is this going to cause? Are we going to see a safety car come out? Are we going to see a safety car or not? Let's see. He stops at the side of the track. And no, we're not going to see a safety car, I don't believe. So the teams should be okay to keep running. No safety car so far this race. And we're now, by the way, at the halfway point of the race. The race is going back very quickly, I've got to say. Everybody quite spaced out at the moment. Thomas has made his way through the field. But the team I'm really disappointed by in the last, including this race, the last couple of races, is TDR. This is at the moment going to be their third race. Yes, their third race without a point. And they've scored 21 points now this season in 9 races. And going into next, if they don't score points this race, it's 2.1 points per race, which is, out of the teams that have raced the entire season, it's really poor. It's compared to 3 points for VMV at the moment. It's compared to 3 for VMV, and currently what would be 3.6. 3.6 for XPG after this race. So at the moment, it's not looking great. It's not looking great at all. For either of the bottom two at the moment, VMV and TDR, they're both 2.1 and 3 points per race on average. Is a really, really small average for the two teams. Compared to the top team at the moment that will be coming out with a hell of a lot more points. By my maths, it's 14 points that divide first and third. OMB is scoring 1 point more with fastest lap. So at the moment, SET is scoring just 16 points. They're scoring just 16, but plus with pole is 17. But if we were to take into account, if you work out the rest, it's 32 points for OMB, minus the 17, means that officially OMB will take the lead of the championship after this race, by the way. After round 10, OMB will lead the Constructors' Championship for the first time since round 2. Since after round 2 in the season. They haven't led the championship since, I believe, the start of round 3. So it's been a long time they've been waiting to lead the championship. So at the moment, they'll lead the championship by 1 singular point if they finish the way they do. Depending on who's got fastest lap as well. Fast lap is held by OMB. So yeah, so at the moment, OMB will be first in the championship. First in the Constructors. So for SET, it's a big problem for SET now. They either struggle against EVR or they struggle against OMB. It seems to be a weekly thing now where they have sort of every week they have this really tough battle with either one of the two constructors. And it has completely stopped raining, by the way. It's completely stopped now. So there will be 12 laps of racing. Maybe less. Maybe I'd say probably close to about 10 laps of racing where we're going to be seeing dry tyres. We can see the bar Tsunami's come in, so I think people might be using him as a bit of a test. But look at this, a mistake from William Boiter. Again, drops him down to P11. He drops behind the man of KJ. KJ pushing his way back through, by the way. He's just set a purple sector, and that's LMB that's gone off. And there goes KJ up into P9. And the points are back on for EVR this evening. They're back into reeling those points back down, and it will be P8 with Nicholas Boiter's penalties. So it will still be 3 points, at least. Still going to be at least 3 points for EVR. So at the moment, they're on for those incredible 3 points to at least bring themselves just 17 points behind in the championship, as it would stand currently. Just 17 points behind, which closes it down. Salva Olmedo now comes into the pits. He feels it's time. Myth hasn't. Myth is staying out. So Salva Olmedo, is he going to be the only one, though? That's my question. Is he going to be the only one? You can see the hard tyres going on to the Aston Martin. You can see Bourbon Boy stayed out longer. Julian's made his way in. Who else is going to be making their way in or out? Whoa, and a massive slide for Salva Olmedo. He's going to drop behind KJ in all of it. But is he going to gain? This is the big question. Is he going to gain enough time? We know OMB have been incredibly fast in the wet conditions, but are they going to be as fast in the dry conditions? But look at this. The mediums are gripping. The mediums are gripping. Just about. There's still bits on track where it is a bit too wet. Still seeing the car struggle a little bit in places. But look at this. It is a lot quicker. It is time, I would say, to come in Because now the gap has grown between first and second. Who is going to ultimately lead this race out of the pit stops? I told you that we were probably going to see a dry part in this race. Very likely the rain wasn't that heavy to start with, so I very much suspected for this entire race we were going to see a dry part of the race. And here comes Mario. He's into the pits. Is he being followed by Speedy? Yes, he is. Born Boy retires! And that is... Oh my god, in the wall! In the wall! And Salvo Almeida almost just hit him. Oh my god, and the safety car is going to save just a few drivers. When it comes down to pit stops, it's going to bunch everybody back up together. And onto the hard tyres goes Quinn as he now rolls out of the pits. Salvo Almeida has stayed out. He does get up into P4, but Quinn is into P3. Safety car madness. Mario leads away. He's on the hard tyres. Baldwin Boys retirement means no points. No points for XPG tonight. And shockingly, a third race without points in a row for XPG this season. Whew. Who's going to go where now? I'm really excited to see, because KJ is in 8th, but the 3 drivers in front of him, he's come out on the wets. That cannot just be me. That cannot just be me that's seeing this. There's no way I'm the only person that sees this. Am I wrong? There's no way. Either way, most likely one of the EVR drivers will pick up to about P5 potentially. P5, P6, so still some points going their way this evening. Same for Wheeze as well. He might also gain 4 places up to P8, so he might give his team a little bit of a boost. But now, the nice thing for SCT is they've now regained the lead of the championship just about by an incredible 2 points. An incredible 2 points. Actually, no, more than 2 points. 3, because OMB have also lost fastest lap as well. So, gonna have to see who's gonna come out best here. Everybody's bunching up now. KJ's back in the pits. He's put on the wrong tyres. He's gonna lose... He's actually not gonna lose a lot of positions, I don't believe. But he's going to the medium tyres. He's decided to go to the mediums as we go on to lap number 18 of 27. 10 laps of this race remaining. We're probably going to get another lap or 2 under the safety car. I think most likely Jazz will be left behind because of how far behind he is. They're heading through the S section. He's just about to head into the final sector. I think because he's so far behind at the moment, I don't think he's going to catch the safety car in time. I think it's going to be way too difficult for him to catch, because there's the safety car and there's the rest of the grid. That's how far behind some people are in tonight's race. But Wheeze on the mediums, same as KJ as well. So they're both going to add up. So 11th and 12th are going to join the back of the grid. I think we are going to see 13th and 14th catch up as well. I think 13th and 14th will also catch up to the back, but I think 15th will be left. But this is going to be a very interesting evening now. Who is going to win? It is all changed. VRE are back on for another potential podium finish. They're on for another potential podium finish to their season. 2 podiums in 4 races. Adding to that chance, bring themselves a little bit closer to SKG. A lot closer, actually, because Myth will drop down to 9th. So they'll bring themselves right up into that contention for 5th in the Constructors with 3 races to go. Who knows what's going to happen. It is the battle for the lead of the championship as well. So for OMB, they need to get a 1-2 finish here. They weren't quickest in pace when it came down to qualifying, but on average they were quickest because they were second and third. So the wet weather was great for them. The dry weather's been great for them. But SCT and OMB, almost identical when it comes down to pace. But we're going for another lap. We're going for a third lap onto lap 19. For OMB, the nice thing that they've got is at least they know they, as long as they're behind the safety car, they get a bit of time where they don't need to do anything. So we're currently waiting for Mario to make his way around with the safety car, of course. When we do get the message that the safety car is coming in, it'll be up to Mario to lead the pack away. But what's crazy is actually, what surprises me is how long Sector 1 is on this track. It takes 51 seconds to get around Sector 1 alone. But if you see for the rest of the track, it's actually quicker to get around the rest of the track. You see it's actually a lot faster for the safety car to get around the rest of the track here. In distance-wise, it's much quicker to get around. But yeah, it's a surprising thing though. It does surprise me how difficult this race has been for some drivers and some teams like TDR at the back of the grid, VMV as well. Once again, both VMV and TDR being at the back of the grid. XPG walking away with nothing. Another pointless weekend for themselves. Another very pointless weekend. As now the safety car is in. It is up to Mario to lead the pack away. He can choose when he wants to go. Of course, OMB no. It's pretty much in the bag that they will take second in the constructors. The main thing is, can they take first? When will Mario go? When does he feel he's going to be ready? It's up to him. When's he going? Is he going now? Now he's going. No, he's not. Now he's going. And he's gotten away incredibly well off the safety car restart. That's what he needed to protect himself down the pit straight. But look at Salva Olmedo. He's already trying to get past Quinn for P3. You can see LMB as well making his way past Nicholas Boiter. He's trying to fight for position as well. There goes Salva Olmedo up into P3. We know Salva Olmedo was the second quickest driver out on track, just about a tenth behind Speedy. So we know he's definitely going to be quick out on those hard tyres. And now it is teamwork versus Speedy. So OMB versus Speedy is going to be a pretty interesting battle to see. And what's going to happen there? Quinn, of course, he knows he should be safe. As long as he doesn't get a penalty, he'll be safely in 4th place. So he should be okay there. LMB, you can see he tried to get past William Boiter out into turn 1, but he wasn't able to, so it didn't work well there. But he's already breaking away from William Boiter, Nicholas Boiter, sorry. He was trying to get past. And into the hairpin he goes. Wheeze! Around the outside he tries. He's unable to. He's made a massive mistake. He's actually dropped quite a few more places. He's still battling with KJ down the hill. Look at this. We've got 4 drivers. Whoa! And off into the wall! Off into the wall goes Thomas. That looked personal. Between Willian and Thomas, that looked very personal into the wall. Very interesting. But look at this. The battle for the lead. For the first time this evening, the top 2 are battling for the lead of the race. Side by side, they are battling it as they head down the pit straight. Speedy is just slightly in front. He's still slightly in front. And Speedy takes the lead. What an incredible move. He even caught me off guard there, how he went for the move there. But there goes Speedy up into the lead of the race. He's on the medium tyres as well, remember. While Salva Olmedo and Mario are both on the mediums. So has Speedy chosen the right tyre at the right time? Or will it fall apart towards the end of the race? We'll have to see. We'll have to see who's quicker, because you see he's breaking away quite easily. And he's up by half a second already. So he's lucky for those points. And SCT looking to hold on to the lead of the championship. This will be their 3rd win in 4 races, by the way. If they do this, 3rd win in 4 races, bring themselves onto 5 total wins. bringing themselves onto 4 total wins this season, which out of any season of FRLT, from assists, no assists, that would be one of the highest seasons for victories on 4 wins. Same, we actually see the same for EVR as well. They're on 4 wins in assists, so they're on sort of the same level as well. They're on 4 wins this season. Out of their round 9 though, out of round 9 for assists, they're on 4 wins, and out of round 10, SET are looking to be on 4 wins as well. If SET, by the way, achieve 2 more victories their season and achieve 6 wins in 13 races, they will equal the all-time highs from assists and no assists for wins in a season. But if they get to 7, I said the same for EVR as well in assists. They've got a great chance to achieve. They've got a great chance to achieve a record-breaking number of victories. They've already gotten 4 this season. And, you know, for EVR and assists, they've already gotten 4. So if they win 3 out of the last 4 races, you know, they will have the most, or at least 2 out of the last 4 races, which is definitely doable for them. But here is an interesting thing now. We've got to look to on track, because both OMB drivers have kept up. They're keeping up at the moment in this race. This is a little bit different. You can see for Mario, the one problem with Suzuka, you can't depend on DRS to keep you up with the car in front. You just can't depend on it at all. And it's showing here that you can't depend on it at all. Because look at this. Outside of a second now for Mario, even though he's pushed so incredibly hard, the hard tyres just haven't worked. Speedy's gotten both OMB drivers on the mediums. He's gaining about 3-4 tenths a lap at the moment, so he's far ahead on pace. Even though Mario's improved by 3 tenths from his personal best, it's still not enough to catch up. But the hard tyres were the wrong choice. Myth now, by the way, gets past Haquin for P4 in this race. Makes his way past Julian as well, eyeing up the opportunity in P6. He's really eyeing up that chance. Look at KJ though. He's battling with Wheeze. Oh my god. Onto the curb. Everywhere they're going. Wheeze has really got to be careful with where he makes his moves at this point. I will say he's really got to be careful at this point with where he makes his moves, because that was very close to being considered a dangerous defense. Theo gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I think that's another one. Theo! In the wall! Theo's in the wall. And he spins it back round. So VMV look like they're going another week without points. Back-to-back races. Without points this week. Not looking too good. But I do think we're going to see a lot more battling over P9. Even though it's P9 now. With penalties, as it stands, they would get up to 6th with the penalties. So Liam, by the way, will only drop 2 places down to 9th at the moment. Unless he can make his way past Julian and Myth, when then he'll finish 7th in this race instead. But we'll have to see. Mario's now dropped over a little bit further behind. He's only dropped 2 tenths, by the way, this lap. So he's actually dropped a lot less time to Speedy. So those tyres aren't working for Speedy so much anymore. He's actually not really getting far ahead. He's made a bit of a mistake out of turn 2 as well. You can see that because he's just dropped 2 tenths of a second. Theo now retires. 4th retirement of the evening. So close to the end of the race. But another disappointing weekend for VMV. Much the same as for TDR. But the battle's really on, because this is the first lap, by the way, where Mario has actually caught up to Speedy in the first sector. He's actually caught up by 3 tenths in the first sector. It's the first time on these tyres that he's caught up. So definitely, I think the mediums have gone. I think the medium tyres have now gone, and they've gone away, and they're not working for Speedy anymore. You can see also the lap difference. He's got a lot more fuel on board. You can see the understeer really kicking in on his car. Well, for Mario, it isn't there so much. We know Speedy has the better straight line speed, though. Speedy's had the better straight line speed all race, and it's shown lap on lap as well, especially on these dry conditions. It's shown a lot more. But look at this, the OMB duo chasing after the race leader. Look at how the gap's reducing. Down to 1.1, that's 4/10 closer than it was last lap. It's closing massively. As there goes Mario, he lets his teammate Salvo Olmedo go by, and they're working together. And the worst thing now for Speedy is that Salvo Olmedo has saved, I don't think he's actually saved any more ERS, but he's closing in a lot on Speedy. Those medium tyres have fully gone on his car. He's pushed, I think maybe just a lap or two too early. Maybe he should have sat behind, maybe just for even just one singular lap more, and it could have saved him. But now it is below a second. The gap between first and second, it's hovering around that second mark. But look at this, Salvo Olmedo is onto the back of Speedy. Look at this, it's below a second, still sitting on those 9/10. But the biggest thing that's going on here for the front three is if Salvo Olmedo catches up with DRS and can hold on to it, Salvo Olmedo gets a 3-second time penalty! The mistake, the main thing now is to try and get his teammate in front. It's to try and get his teammate in front and to catch. But is it going to work? Is the sort of pulling his teammate along, is it going to work on this run? Because his teammate is quite a bit further behind. And you see, here comes his teammate. He's not going to close enough. Wheeze gets a 3-second time penalty. Wheeze now loses a place as well to KJ. And that means Wheeze is going to be out. He's going to be P10 at the moment. And KJ will at least make his way up to 6th in tonight's race. So this could all be changing around. But LMB still has a chance to gain a few places. Everybody's got chances to gain a few places. 2 laps to go in this race. It's proving to be a bit of an insane race as well. Haquin needs to just close in. He needs to get past Myth. And he needs to also get past... he also needs to close up to Mario if he wants to get the chance of P3 and a podium. To add another podium, to get 2 podiums and 3 races for Haquin would be an interesting one for VRE. They're looking at a very interesting race nonetheless this week. Look at Liam. He's pushing hard. He wants to stay in front of KJ. 2.6 seconds. It's going up. So LMB pushing really hard to stay up in P7 to get those extra 5 points, to take home those 16 points this evening and to close up to SKG. Liam, though, of course, with that penalty, he's trying to close up to Julian as well. But we've got to look to the front 3. Speedy is over a second ahead. He's been able to hold on to it, and onto the final lap he goes. Oh, I feel bad. To some degree, I do feel bad for OMB tonight, even though they've led the race for about 80% of it. In the final dying laps of the race, they've lost. Dying moments of the race, they've lost the lead. Wheeze now gets past into P9. They're battling heavily over P9 here. At the moment, it's over 3 seconds, so LMB is safe in a P7. So for him, he's going to be happy, but he maybe wants to get one more place. Let's see. Haquin, I think Haquin seems to look happy in his place as well. But he's within 3 seconds. He's just outside of 3 seconds, by the way, of Salvo Olmedo for the podium. They're just outside of 3 seconds. Haquin needs to use Myth and get past him quickly in this race if VRE want another podium to their season and to close up to SKG by 3 points. It would be by 3 points this evening, by the way. That's all. VRE will close up to SKG, but it would gain them a lot in their championship run. Well, they're gaining more, sorry. Even more than that. Another 5 on top of that. So, 8 points closer. But we've got to look to the final corner. Well, to the final chicane, really, with Speedy. He makes his way round. He's pushed hard. He made the right tyre choice. And round the final corner, Speedy and SCT win again! And it is a 3rd win in 4 races for SCT. OMB, P2 and P3. Haquin! P3! He unsettles OMB and brings home a podium for VRE. Salvo Olmedo in 4th. Myth finishes 5th. Julian with the first points for ABE this season, LMB P7, Nicholas Boycer in P8, KJ finishes 9th, and the worst finish for EVR this season, and Wheeze in P10. So a lovely 20 points coming home for SCT, unless they got fastest lap as well. Yes, they did, so 21 points. So the championship is still on going into the next 3 races. It's very much still on this season. The championship is going to be a very interesting one going into the final 3 races of No Assist in Season 5. I have to say, I did not expect this championship battle to keep going. But the 2 points for EVR, they might have lost 19 points. So they're 22 points behind in the championship. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens going into next race. And for the last 3 races of the season, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And we'll run through the order in a minute once we reach the end. But an incredible end to another race. That one safety car, I think, flipped the race upside down. And sadly for OMB, it flips it upside down in a bad way for them. But let's go through the order of the grid here tonight. Ultimately, it is Speedy who wins, followed by Mario, Haquin, Salva, Myth, Julian, LMB, Nicholas, KJ, and Wheeze. Then the Barton Army, Jazz Gaming, William Boyter, and Thomas. Then the retirements being Theo, Bornboy, Mirko, and JD Bergsma. And everybody, that is sadly it for this evening's stream, and that is the end of the race. But here's something interesting. What we're going to do is I'm going to say my driver of the evening. It's difficult. It's very difficult to say my driver of the evening. I don't know. I'm going to say it is very difficult. It's very, very difficult. You know what? I'm gonna say, just for the way he dominated most of the race, Mario. I'm gonna say Mario in all of it. He very much dominated the race in an absolutely brilliant way for most of it. Even though he lost it towards the end and he finished P4, I cannot deny a driver who's done probably the best job that evening. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a safety car. It wasn't a good tyre choice. It was just overall brilliant pace. And if he had been on the mediums, we probably would have seen him win the race as well. But in the end, that is that for this evening. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also click on the notification bell to know about all of the content we're going to be doing from short streams and videos. Also, big thanks to our new partners, of course, our partners of Motorsport Connect, but also our new partners of the VRE shop. Sadly, SimRacing Centre, cover that top right. They're no longer with us, sadly. They're no longer affiliates, but thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have an absolute brilliant week, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye. Look at this! Look at the battling, and it is a safety car! Here comes Mika into slow corner. Whoa! Almost! And away we go here in the Netherlands. Got F1 down towards the next cover. Oh, it is! Oh my god! Whoa! Bit of a season as Nano wins in Monza for FRLT Tier 1.